Welcome to Season 6, Episode 12 of the Family Travel Australia podcast. We are Paul, Katie and Jasper from the Feel Good family. Join us as we explore this great country, Australia, its people, places and cultures.
Yes, welcome to the Family Travel Podcast, where we share the latest in RV industry news, road trip travel, caravanning and camping, product reviews, where to go, what to do, and so much more. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you indeed. This week we start our Gold Coast theme park adventures and stay at a unique farm stay that is a wonderful experience for the entire family. From cows to emus, meerkats to Shaun the Sheep. You'll love this episode.
Yes. Yeah, it's jam-packed, and isn't that an extreme? Like when you think from cows to emus to Shaun the Sheep, like
meerkats.
Yes, really does have it all. What a fantastic week we have had down there on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, coming home to the Goldie, we love it. We've got to catch up with family, as we mentioned last week, and really get out and about and sit still on the M1 for a little while.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh.
It's crazy. That's something that has become really noticeable to us, and I'm sure anybody out there who is travelling around this country, is when you get back to these metropolitan places, these cities, Gold Coast, our hometown, the number of cars on the road, that M1, it is full on.
I think there's over 700,000 people on the Gold Coast now.
Holy.
I went to Surfers Paradise Primary School.
A long time ago, darling.
A long time ago. My first job was actually as a paper boy at the Balla and Alunga Paradise Twin Towers in there in Surfers Paradise Mall. And I had a key to the lift, and I used to start around about 5:15 in the morning, and I'd go up and down the lift, and I'd be able to lock the lift off and run out and drop the Gold Coast bulletin to the different doors, and I'd make 5 cents a paper.
Wow.
Yeah, and on a weekend, the papers were much bigger and heavier, and you could even deliver courier mails and things like that. And that, I think, would equate to maybe $4 on a weekend run in the morning. Yeah.
Wowzers. Yeah.
I got very quick at
throwing them out there.
Running back in the lift, turn the key, pressing the next level.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you really will have seen an incredible change then on the Gold Coast over that time. And, I mean, we notice it now each time we come back, and, you know, sometimes there could be 12 months or longer between visits to the Gold Coast, and this time again was no different. It certainly is super busy. It is an awesome place. We do love getting back to the Gold Coast, and of course catching up with family, all of your family in the one place at the one time, which in itself is a massive feat considering how many family members you have.
Look, it is crazy and crazy good at the same time. You will notice we're actually filming this, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, at night, which is unusual for us.
It is. It's a testament to the kind of crazy days that we have been having, though, and we are filming this just before it's going to go live out there in the world of podcast land.
And the reason is because today we finally got the van into a manageable space that we were happy to film an internal tour of the van. So that will be coming up on our YouTube channel, The Feel Good Family. So check that out. It is getting there. These things take, it's like moving into a new house. I mean, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to really get yourself going, okay, maybe that's not the right place for that item, or how do I make that look a little bit better, or how do I declutter?
Oh, 100%. And we've been doing all of that over the last couple of weeks in bite-sized pieces. But today we had a really good chunk of time to actually dedicate to, okay, let's get this space sorted. Let's turn it into our home, which it's really starting to feel like that. And, boy, we just love it. And we can't wait to share that with you. So do jump over to our Feel Good Family YouTube channel and check that out. It is an upcoming episode, a full interior van tour.
Fantastic. And we've also actually, this podcast that is being filmed, moved that onto our Feel Good Family channel. So you're very well possibly watching it there at the moment.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool stuff. All right. Here we go. This week we are staying at a unique farm stay. It is Paradise Country, and it is probably the best base that you could get on the Goldie to then get out and get to those famous theme parks.
Do you know, there are so many bonuses about staying here outside of the theme parks as well. I mean, if you are travelling, you would know how busy it is out there at the moment, which is fantastic. We are such advocates for more and more people getting out there. But it does mean that a lot of caravan parks in particular are very, very busy. And we've heard from many people saying, God, we just can't get in anywhere. Like the caravan parks are just booked solid, which is awesome for the industry. Wasn't it a refreshing change to pull up at Paradise Country, and it is in this beautiful natural bushland setting, and it not be completely full? I mean, over the weekend it did get busy and there was this really great flow of people coming in and going out, but we certainly had quite a few nights there where we were really the only campers.
I think what happens is people get on to book and they look at that initial price point and they go, ooh, geez, she's steep. And then when you actually look at the detail around what's included, as far as a family park, or if you love your theme parks or you want to have a unique farm stay experience like this, it's actually really great value.
Yeah, it is 100%. And they do offer different packages. So you could jump onto their website to get all of the details of those, because we won't talk about them in detail. But for instance, the package that we stayed on gave us unlimited access to all of the theme parks. So that is Paradise Country, that is Movie World, that is Wet and Wild, and that is Sea World.
Yeah.
Plus staying at the farm stay.
Very cool. And then when you're staying at the farm stay, there's a few activities that are outside of regular opening hours, which I think is 10 till 4 or 4:30. So there's morning farm feeding sessions. There's games in the afternoon for the kids or the whole family, really. And there's also evening fire pit gatherings as well, which is pretty cool. So there's other added values there as well. As far as the rest of the site goes, as a farm stay, there is a dump point on site.
Yes.
There's fantastic amenities, so you can get wonderful hot showers.
Yeah, that's right. And gosh, I'm not sure of how many sites they've got, but they are all in the natural bushland setting.
About 25 to 30, I'd say.
So you could rock up in your RV, you know, you could take your camper trailer. You certainly could go with your tent or swag, and we saw all of those take place over the time that we were staying there. They do have full hookups, so connected to mains, power and water, which is a bonus. And if you're not going in your RV, they do have on site a couple of very large tents. So if you want to have that camping experience, or they have 4 glamping eco tents that look fantastic. They have couples ones and family ones with or without their own ensuite facilities. So you could pick and choose exactly what you wanted depending on the experience that you want to have. Just a little note on taking your own caravan in. Most of the sites, there are a handful that cater to larger caravans. Most of the sites are probably suited to smaller motorhomes, caravans, camper trailers. So just be sure to ask about that if you are booking. You know, give them a call depending on the size of your rig. Our caravan is 21 foot.
Yes.
We needed to be on one of the larger sites.
Great advice. Yes. And also have levelling blocks.
Yes.
Because some of the sites, you know, we joke about this quite often as we travel around, not all sites were created equal.
Yeah, that is true. So you will potentially need to get a little bit creative. We got a little bit creative getting in and out of our site, but it is doable. And once you are in, waking up to that bush environment, the bird song, looking out the window and seeing the horses in the paddock next door.
That's a great point, you know, is that you're only really set back maybe a kilometre from that incredibly epic M1. And at night, beautiful, quiet. We were very surprised at how quiet it was here.
Yeah, so quiet. One of the quietest, you know, like caravan park style campsites that we have ever stayed at. It was amazing.
Now, your ticket does include unlimited entry to Paradise Country.
Yes.
It is regarded as a theme park. What I love is that it's a fairly small footprint. So if you are a family that has younger ones, it's really easy to get around.
Yeah.
And then there's other options to get around as well, including the tractor ride. Reminds me of an old hay ride.
Yes.
Which is fun. And it is accessible. It's in that there are wheelchair accessible areas around the entire park. Now, there's not only the farm life and farm animals that, of course, you would expect, but there's also all of Aussie's iconic wildlife all in one place as well. So they kind of got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, they do. And actually their wildlife walkabout, I think, is done really, really well in that you can see all of those animals, again, in a relatively short amount of time, walking through the kangaroo enclosure. You know, the koalas are right there in front of you, the dingoes, the emus. Like it really is. Oh, and the Tassie Devils, of course.
Yeah.
It really is very well done. On the farm side of life, this is what I really personally enjoyed about this experience, is that not only are there the farm animals that you would expect to see, and they have a nursery as well, and the kids can, you know, you can actually wander around with the very inquisitive goats and whatnot, but they also offer shows to give you a little bit more insight into that real Aussie farm, outback, stockman kind of way of life.
I think there's probably 5 or 6 shows, including Shaun the Sheep's Adventure Show.
Oh, yes.
And they're really short, like they're 10, 15 minutes long, each of them. So again, it's kind of power-packed, good hot Aussie humour.
Yeah.
It's good fun. And like you say, it actually speaks to the life and times of Australian stockmen, the horses, the animals. There's a dog demonstration.
Yeah, the working dog demo. Yep. You know, the Billy Tea demonstration was lots of fun. Paul got up and volunteered to swing the billy and didn't get himself too wet, which was
good fun.
Yeah, it was good fun. The Stockman show, I think, was a highlight, and Jasper in particular really loved that, getting to watch Matey, the beautiful stock horse, you know, versus the young lad on the quad bike, and they did this challenge where they had to get the flags and put them in different barrels around the arena and see who did the best time. That was lots of fun, but again showed how these stock horses are incredible on the land and their role that they play.
Look, there was even boomerang throwing.
Yeah. Quite bad boomerang throwing, if I'm honest.
That's true, yeah. I don't know if this was first day for these staff, or I might need to get a qualified boomerang thrower.
Well, it's a bit harsh. I don't think I've ever thrown a boomerang that's come back. So, you know, to be fair, but some of them did come back. Jasper also loved that. There was whip cracking, you know, good. So lots of that real Australiana, and you could see how that would be very appealing too to people who don't reside in Australia, you know, to get that taste of, oh my gosh, that actually is what happens here.
Yeah, interestingly, the Paradise Country, I guess, theme park experience was originally created for international travel, and then obviously COVID hit, and now it is completely geared towards domestic travellers, you know, Aussies travelling at home like ourselves, and they've done a very good job of presenting the Aussie culture and scene in a fun, interactive, entertaining way.
Yeah, that is so true. And, of course, now they have the mascot there of Shaun the Sheep.
So good.
Which was really interesting for us because prior to our visit, Jasper was not particularly a Shaun the Sheep fan. He didn't quite have the time of day to sit and watch the episodes to really get the humour of it.
I think that's it. He didn't get the humour of it, you know. It does have a very split delivery of parent and kid humour, I think. They do it very well.
Yeah, they do. And, of course, Shaun now calls Paradise Country home, and he has his own show, the Aussie Adventure Show, and you can do a meet and greet, and the tractor ride is Shaun's tractor ride, and there's Shaun's bush camp, Scraps and Taps.
Scraps and Taps was probably the highlight for most of the kids that were in that 3 to 6 year age bracket, because it's a fairly tiny splash area designed around Shaun the Sheep and Scraps and Taps, literally. Jasper loved it. Honestly, most of the kids there leave yelling at their parents because they would be happily, you know, spend another hour there. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah,
he really loved that. That water play is so appealing to the little ones. The show was great. The Shaun the Sheep show was great. And that turned Jasper into a Shaun the Sheep lover. He couldn't wait to do the meet and greet with Shaun the Sheep.
Singing along with the theme song, he's Shaun the Sheep.
You know what was really cool, though, was after watching the show, we went up to Shaun's adventure camp and they play on a big screen up there all of the episodes. And we sat and watched them, and very quickly Jasper's giggling away, getting the humour. So I think having that experience and seeing Shaun's live show, and shows like that are so great for the littlies because, you know, the characters come to life on stage and they're singing and dancing. And
kids suspend their disbelief, don't they?
Yes.
We should all take a leaf out of their book, I think.
Yeah, it is quite magical how that happens. And then to go and watch some episodes, and then the next thing we know, we get home and Jasper says, "Can I watch Shaun the Sheep movie?" I'm like, yes, sure, mate. So he's really been converted, and that was really lovely to see that transition for him.
Look, they also have what's referred to as exotic animals, and that is animals that aren't domestic or, you know, call Australia home traditionally. They have meerkats.
Yes.
And they have marmosets.
Aren't they two of the cutest, strangest little creatures?
They are. I think if, you know, you look at zoos around the world and different institutions around Australia, they nailed it. If you're going to have two, these are the two to have, I reckon.
The meerkats were cool. We caught them at feeding time and they were super active. And so it was so nice. Jasper just sat at the glass barrier, I suppose, and it was an open air enclosure, so you could look over it, and Jasper just sat down so he could look through it. And they all just ran up and they were looking at him and he was looking at them, and it was very, very cute. And the marmosets, wasn't their enclosure beautiful? Now, this is actually at the back of the Farmhouse restaurant. So you could literally go and grab a meal, sit down and look at these tiny, cute, fluffy-eared little monkeys do their thing in their enclosure.
They look like they're up to no good constantly. They're like, you know, a group of 5-year-olds that have been let loose.
Yeah, look, if you want to really get up close and personal with them, they do offer some experiences with both the marmosets and the meerkats that you can go in and feed them, and that would be a cool thing to do. And I don't know, I didn't think that the prices were unreasonable for that kind of experience.
I guess that's it. There are experiences like this that you are only going to do once in your lifetime. I mean, unless you absolutely, you know, are mental about them, you wear shirts with marmosets on them or something. You know, it is a once in a lifetime. So I think it was like $60 for this sort of 30, 40-minute experience.
I thought that was great value.
I think it was $100 if you were a couple.
Yeah.
Again, I think if it's something and it's going to absolutely be a highlight of your visit or your trip, or great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I'd do it. Anyway, really a great experience. And what was excellent was because we were staying at the farm stay, we could just come and go as we pleased. So we didn't just go in on one day. Jasper and I went back. We even went back as a family for another fantastic experience that we'll talk about in an episode coming up soon.
Yes.
So it was great just to be able to do that, go back and forth. Jasper, what do you want to do this afternoon? Oh, let's go and play at Scraps and Taps. Yeah, sure.
And watch Shaun the Sheep's adventure show.
Yeah, we did. We watched that a few times.
All right, so staying on site is fantastic, but even if you're accessing the other theme parks, which we did, we actually went to Movie World, SeaWorld and Wet n Wild. We'll quickly talk about Wet n Wild. It is just a great base to be able to get out and explore the place.
Yeah, that's so true. And, well, Wet n Wild was like literally not even a 5-minute drive, because you basically come out and then duck into the Wet n Wild car park.
Before we get on to Wet n Wild, we'll go back to where the marmosets are, is the Farmhouse restaurant. It is central to the park, so everything is sort of built around it. Even the tractor ride goes around it. The wildlife is all on one side, and the farm, I guess, area is all on the other side. It is a massive open air restaurant with all that really beautiful design, farm charm, and we had a buffet dinner there.
Oh, yeah, they do buffet dinner Friday, Saturday nights, open to the public too, so you don't actually have to be staying at the farm stay to go in and have a buffet dinner. It
was really good. The food was great.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, if I see a sign that says buffet, I'd walk the other way.
No, it was good food.
I'm not a fan of that sort of style of food. We just don't eat probably enough to warrant it. But it was good value as well.
Yeah, it was. And I think from memory it was $30 an adult, which seems very reasonable for a buffet.
It does. I guess because we're out and about and we're travelling, and when you do have that one meal every couple of weeks when you're going to go out and spoil yourself, just your meal's going to be $35 just for a meal and then plus. So, yeah, great value.
Yeah, no, really, really enjoyable. And they do breakfasts on the weekend as well.
Yes. Okay. Now we're going to head over to Wet and Wild.
Yeah, gee, this is so much fun. I have great memories of going to Wet and Wild when I was a kid. I mean, I just loved it. I mean, going in summer too, of course, on a really warm day. You're just into everything. You're in your swimmers. You're running around. It is absolutely exhausting. We did visit, obviously, at this time of year. It is winter for us here in Australia.
And it has been, I won't say the word cold because people will laugh at that. It has definitely been cooler than average, definitely below average. I mean, we're still experiencing 5 to 6 degree below average temperatures, 8 degrees in the morning and things like that. So that is, unusually cold for this time of year.
Yeah, we I think we lucked out on the day that we went because it was a beautiful sunny day. I think the maximum was about 22 degrees, which made it quite nice.
Interestingly, it's 22 degrees out. It was 25 degrees in. So they really endeavour to keep that water temperature at 25 degrees C, which is actually warmer than the ocean.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it is good. You still feel comfortable. I wore a rashie the whole day. We put Jasper in his wetsuit, his full steamer. He was toasty. He was fine. He was in and out of everything that he could get into.
Yeah, such a great tip. And look, going at that time of year too means far less crowds.
Go when it's low. That's our new slogan for this type of activity. The Gold Coast in low season, I think, really enjoyable.
Yeah, 100%. And then you don't have those massive wait times. But there was so much for us to enjoy. I mean, there is so much for the bigger kids and the adults at Wet and Wild, all of the full-on crazy thrill-seeking water slides. But as far as the littlies go, and this was Jasper's first experience at a water park of this type. I mean, he has experienced some of the amazing water parks in the caravan parks around the country, there's discovery parks and the Big Fours and things like that.
The one where they charge you $15 a kid to stay the night?
Yeah, those ones, yes. But then they have amazing facilities like water slides and a splashy zone and whatnot. So he's had that, but he hasn't had a full-on theme park with water slides. So he was just like, whoa, totally overwhelmed in an awesome way.
He was peaking.
Yeah.
He was absolutely peaking duck. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and there is so much to keep the little ones entertained. I mean, there's a whole zone called H2 Oasis, which is just this massive splashy zone area where he put Paul into this really cool challenge that he designed for him and got him to stand under the massive bucket that fills with water and then drops on top of you. We went to the junior zone, and I think this really is the highlight for Jasper. There was little water slides in there, so a nice little initiation for him into being on a water slide without one of us. Again, really beautiful designed shallow pool areas for the little ones.
I think there's 8 different slide ride activities within the junior zone. So it's really good for kids aged to about 10, I believe.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit double figures, and then you're looking for the bigger stuff. No
exactly. Doubt. More thrills. My personal favourite was Whirlpool Springs, and this was just a series of hot tubs, so much warmer than the 25 degrees of the other rides. I could have just stayed and played in there all afternoon.
Butler, drink please.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of drinks, the whole area around the wave pool, which is massive, is licensed, and there's these really cool cabanas that you can hire. You could hire them for the entire day if you were going, where you can just leave your stuff, you can kick back and have lunch. They've done a really great job, I think, in designing spaces for people to chill out, for people to be able to go nuts in.
That's great. There are so many covered seating areas. Yeah. There are coin-operated barbecues. I think they're $2.
Yeah.
There must have been an area there that had almost a dozen barbecues. You can take your own food in there as long as it's not commercial food like, Big Macs from McDonald's or something.
Yeah, we packed a lunch. I remember doing that as a kid as well. Like I remember my family going and we just have like a full-on picnic basket.
I think you're allowed to take an esky. You're not allowed to take any alcohol.
No.
The licensed area, as you mentioned, is around the wave pool, and there is a cocktail, like a tiki bar.
Yep.
With frozen margaritas and all those goodies.
Yeah, look, there is something for everyone. And some of those water slides, I was like, oh, my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, how's the one where they put the board on your back and you're almost in like a full-on vertical position and then
like a coffin position.
They just and you do this full-on feet first massive loop and holy dooly. I was just like, you'd need some pretty sturdy swimmers, I think.
Yeah,
you should get out and make sure they're all still covering the bits that they should be.
And what's that thing? Got a Magdalene, you'd want no fear.
Yes, most definitely.
Watching these people go down it, it doesn't interest me. I'm happy to be a spectator on some of those. I did go on a couple without the family, which was great.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed it. But again, going when it's low season, absolutely fine. I wasn't cold.
No, really, a really fun day out. And bonus, Jasper was exhausted. So we were there for quite a few hours. He was just toast by the end of the day, which is really, really nice. So I was like, yeah, this is great.
You can also check out a special band that you get called a Fast Pass. And I think that'd be really cool. If this was your trip for the year, then having a Fast Pass, whether you're going to any of the theme parks.
Yes.
And save you all of that time queuing up. You would maximize your time on the rides.
Yep.
And I think it would be good value. It would be money well spent, I believe.
Well, especially if it's your holiday, it's your time together as a family and you are making the most of it and you're just there for that short amount of time. If you're in high season, definitely grab yourself one of those. It's crazy. Like you just walk past all of these people to the front of the line and boom, you're on. So yeah, if you're an impatient person, definitely get yourself a Fast Pass.
Love it. All right. We will wrap up our Paradise Country stay there. We do have a takeaway for you this week, and it is acknowledgement for good people. Good people deserve good acknowledgement.
Yeah, isn't that true? And all too often, I think the world is so quick to make a comment about an experience or someone that is a negative.
True.
We all need to be better about giving thanks and being grateful and validating people for their awesomeness.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, and I do think that, like, we have a couple of experiences where you do have that outstanding interaction with someone. We will make the effort to send the email or pick up the phone and try and speak to whoever, that area's manager or boss is or whatever it is, to make sure that we make a point of doing that, because it truly can make a difference to that person. And I do think that if you've got people like that are leading by their own example, surely it's going to make everything better, doesn't it? Yeah,
look, the team at the farm stay were just fantastic. The girls in reception there, that nothing was a problem. They absolutely went out of their way just to make our stay even more special. So
thank you.
They are great examples of that. And I think if we all just did that and acknowledged people in that manner, that's infectious as well. If you get an acknowledgement, you're more open to recognising that in other people and paying that forward as well.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing, and it's called the giver, the receiver, and the observer. I don't know if we've spoken about this before, but it's worth a Google. But they were trying to measure the, what do I call them, the endorphins in different people when they were the giver and then also the receiver. But in a third part of this testing, they actually put a person in who was an observer. And when they tested all of these people, they all had very similar heightened, going on. And so it's a really good thing too, I think, to remember that even just by the act of doing that, and if it's visible to other people, then you also can uplift other people in the process. It's very cool.
I love it. I love that pay it forward. Who were we talking to the other day? And they said to us, Now if I ever go through a drive-through, whether it's for a coffee, on the Gold Coast, you can go through Zaraffa's drive-through and get yourself a coffee, or whether it's, one of the fast food outlets. But I always pay for the person behind me. So when I get up to the window, I obviously pay for what I've ordered, and I say, and I want to pay for that car at their order behind me. And
so
I do
waiting
this
for that guy to show up and duck in line.
I do this as an absolute practice anytime I go through a drive-through, and it's just my way of adding a little bit of sunshine to somebody's life. I thought, how cool is that? Imagine being in the car behind and getting to the window and them saying, no, your order's been paid for by, the little Barina in front of you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, then can I please order?
Exactly. I don't think it works like that.
No,
but
it
anyway,
doesn't.
be
Very
kind.
cool.
Isn't that
That
awesome?
is the moral of the story, isn't it? An acknowledgement, I think. Yeah, giving people that acknowledgement instead of, not.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, there we go. A bit of pick-me-up, feel-good stuff for the end of the show. Next week, we have some guest speakers.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Time for a guest speaker segment.
Yes, there is.
So that will be a very cool episode. Some fellow travelling family members who are going to talk to us about their experiences on the road.
Excellent. And then we'll bring you part 2, which includes SeaWorld, Movie World,
Oh, yes.
Hollywood on the Gold Coast.
Holy jolly. We have had so much fun. Doesn't it make you feel like you're a kid again too when you go to a theme park as an adult, especially when you've got kids of your own with you, and you do get to live that excitement through their eyes.
So cool. And then on this coming Sunday night, we do have our brand new Sojourn family bunk van from Zone RV, the internal walkthrough with Katie and myself, and of course little Jasper. And we will mention Jasper's channel is up and running. Wow. I'm busily editing his episode 3.
Yes.
So he's going great guns there, and getting some beautiful responses. And again, if you've got family in that age bracket, kids or grandkids, share it out with them. It is feel-good content that you'll absolutely love.
Awesome.
All right, that is us for this week. For now, we'll say dream big, look after yourself, look after your family.
And happy trails.
Feel the journey, feel the love, feel good family.
Whew.
Awesome. There we go.
And did we make it? We did. With just enough time for you to edit and get this up online.
Yes. And actually, we're on Channel 9 News tonight. I just remembered.
Oh, yes, we are. We should flick the TV over.
Yes, we're talking about homeschooling. They reached out and said, hey, you're homeschooling? How's that going? I said, don't ask us. Ask the kid.
Yes.
So anyway, no, that'll be fun. All right, for now, take care. We'll see you next week.
Bye.